Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.stampinup.net. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I have an extra special birthday card that I have been creating. This is for a colleague of mine, Alistair. He turns 50 this weekend, so I have created him this card. Now I'm going to show you how to do it. First of all, you need a piece of basic white cardstock, and I have cut this down so it's 14 centimetres in length, okay, and it's just under 10 centimetres in width, so it's actually going to be 9.8 centimetres. Okay, I've cut it to 14 so it's just a bit easier to draw, and I'll explain to you where I'm going as I go through. So first of all, you're going to want your ruler and a pencil, and I've slowed this down. You might see that my hands are a bit jittery, but I wanted you to be able to see what I was doing. So I am going to be drawing along here a line at 7 centimetres. So that's halfway across the cardstock. And then what I'm going to do is at 1.5 centimetres all the way around, I'm going to make some frames. So I've got 2 frames, one in each main section. Okay, you'll see me doing that. It's 1.5 centimetres from the edge and 1.5 centimetres from the middle line, and then I'm going to flip it and I'm going to do 1.5 centimetres from the top and 1.5 centimetres from the bottom, so that I have a frame on either side of that card, and that's what I'm going to use to draw my 5 and to draw my 0. Okay, so hopefully that's quite clear. I know guys over in America, you have different measurements. Just use a coordinating one, okay? So 1.5 centimetres here is about 1/2 inch. You know, you can work on that if you wanted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to darken some of these lines down. So I'm darkening the middle bit, but only from 1.5 centimetres up, which is where that line goes, up to the next 1.5 centimetres, and I'm doing that around all the edges on the right hand side for my 0, because I am going to want to have that as my outside. Now you need something circular that is the same, and you want to use the same circular thing all the way over. Now I'm using the inside of my glue dots because I have those on my desk, and I bet the majority of you do too, so I'm just using that to create my sort of circle around my O. Next bit is you want to create the middle bits. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my lines and I'm drawing 1 centimetre from the edge and lining it up with 1 centimetre from the other one. So there's a centimetre gap missing. Okay, hopefully you can see that on there. It just means a centimetre from that line to the edge is where I'm going to do my next circle, and I'm using the same circle inserts so that I have a nice round edge that matches the round edge on the outside, and I'm lining them all up and popping them all in. Okay, I'm going over those bits just to make them a bit darker so that you can see them. Realistically, you don't need to have to do that. Once you've got your guides, you're okay. But I was wary, I was filming it and wanted everyone to see what I would be doing. So that's my 0. I now need to work on my 5. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating an extra line and I'm drawing that across. Now you can go wherever you want in your card, depending on whether you want a deep 5 or a low 5. I have gone 5.5 centimetres up. Sorry, I was trying to look on the video and then realised I had that written on my notepad next to me. And then what I'm doing is I'm dropping that down again 1.5 centimetres. So this 1.5 centimetres is quite important around the whole bit, but you'll notice I haven't gone all the way to the edge of that inside line. I've left 1 centimetre again. What you want to be doing on all of this is you want to be wary of the centimetre on the inside and the 1.5 centimetres on the outside so that you get a consistent line. Okay, so I've just marked that in 1 centimetre because I should have done that. And then what I can do there is I can link the top line to that line using my circle, which is what I'm going to do later. And then again, I'm going to go 1 centimetre down and I'm going to do myself a middle bit that is 1 centimetre down from the line and 1 centimetre up. I know I'm not explaining this very well, but hopefully the explanations with the actual video will help you. Okay. So I'm just going over the bits that I've done, and this is where I'm going to use my circle. So I'm just lining all of those bits up so you can see where they go and how they create into my 5. The 0 was easy, the 5 just took a bit of time to think about. And again, just remember that centimetre off that 1.5 centimetre line. I know if anyone was listening to this without the video, it would not make sense, would it? But hopefully it's making sense to you and you can see what I'm doing, and hopefully it's nice and clear. That's why I've slowed it all down and I've tried to make my grid lines as, you know, obvious and as dark and as proud as possible. Okay, so that's my 5 and that's my 0. Now, to make this easier for you, I'm actually going to come over it with my Stampin' Write marker. So this is my black Stampin' Write marker. You don't really need to do this if you don't want to. I've just decided to go around it so everyone can see what I'm doing. I've got an outside and I've got a frame on it. Really up to you whether you want to do that or not, but I have done it. So all I've just done is gone across my main lines. And you don't have to worry about rubbing out any of the guidelines that are actually on the card. You need to rub out the ones that are within the shapes, because otherwise you're going to see those. But you can see from here that I'm going to be cutting the main card at the background out. So it doesn't matter about those grid lines, you can't see them. So you want to fussy cut all the way around this, or if you've got a cutting machine, you can use that as well. And I'm just cutting all of the wasted space that's not part of my 5 and not part of my 0 out. So I've created myself a little template. Okay, keep going with that. And there we are, my 5 and my 0. And that's going to sit on a card base. So you can see here that my card base, this is a standard A6 card base, is slightly bigger. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the 5 and the 0 and I'm putting that across the folded line at the top. So where the score mark of the card is, that's right at the very top, so that there's no other gap. Okay, and there's gaps at the side. So what I'm doing is I'm now cutting around that guideline into the card. Now I'm only cutting the front piece of the card and not the back piece. I've separated the two. The front is the main piece and I'm cutting all the way around that, and I'm cutting the 5 and the 0 out along the top crease, so you can see that it's going to still stand up, it's still going to fold, because I'm not cutting the top bit off. What I did do is I cut the side bits off the background. So if you can see 1.5 centimetres, the magic number up, I have left as an actual stand at the bottom. I have cut that little bit at the back so that the card looks the same, but the 5 and the 0 is just on the front. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I've done there, and you can see it against the stencil. So with the stencil, I'm going to be colouring this in. But one thing I did notice was that where I put the Stampin' Write marker line and then where I cut wasn't totally clear. So I have now gone round, you know, basically I hadn't cut it straight. There was a few bits of white that were just hiding there like a halo. So I'm going around my blend and I'm just doing all of the edges to make sure that there's no sort of white halo on there, and that it looks like I've cut it straight and everything. I'm going to be rubbering out all the marks because I'm actually going to blend these numbers together. I love using my blends. I'm using the Zany Zoo paper. Love this paper. It's got some great designs, but what I'm actually going to be using is the back of it, which is the black and white section. And I'm cutting that 1.5 centimetre strip that I was telling you about just there, and I'm going to cut that out and I'm going to stick it onto the bottom of the card, okay? Just so it has a little bit of detail there. So cut that along, make sure that the 0 and the bottom of the 5 match with it, and then cut it around so it sticks on there flush. And then the 50 is going to sit on top of that. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking 1 millimetre, just a very thin bit off, because I don't want the card base to peek out from under my stencil. So I'm just going around and removing just a slight bit on that base, so that the stencil bit that goes on the front is the main bit and you can't see all of this underneath it. Okay, this is just there for like structural, to, you know, make it thick and make it stand nice. Okay. And no one's going to see this underneath bit because it's just going to be stuck to the front. So it doesn't matter if it's 100% straight, it just matters that it's not showing. Okay, so with the 50, I'm going to be blending this in. I'm using the greys, so I'm using dark smoky slate, light smoky slate, and I'm then using dark grey granite to sort of merge all of these colours together. So I'm using the dark smoky slate around the sides on the left-hand side as a shadow. And then I'm going to be using the light smoke, sorry, I've gone straight into the dark grey granite and gone around the other side so that the light smoky slate can pull it together in the middle. Okay. So then you're going to come in with a light smoky slate, add as much colour of that across, keep blending into the dark. Don't blend into the light as much, just blend into the dark, because we're going to come back in with a light and we're going to blend that the other way. Okay, there you are. You can see I'm now adding the grey granite on, which is slightly lighter, and I'm blending that back the other way. This is quite good because it gives a mottled effect when it's finished, so it doesn't look like a block card. It looks quite cute. And actually looks like you've done something to it rather than just cutting it out of silver paper. So I was quite glad with that. Keep spreading it around. You can see how the ink just moves. You can get this to a state that you're happy with. If you're not happy first time around, just go over it again. The ink will keep moving with you and it will build itself up. Okay, so once you finish that, it can stick then onto the card base. I'm sticking it flat using my seal. And there you go. There is my 50. So what I'm going to do now is use a Zany Zoo set. I cut this little guy out the other day. I've got videos showing you how to colour and cut him also on my channel, so do make sure you've subscribed and check those out. I'm just sticking him on there as detail, and then I'm going to be using the sentiment "Happy Birthday to You," and I'm going to use that on basic white, and I'm going to take that as a little flag sentiment and add it to the side. And then when I've finished, I'm going to be using my metallic enamel effects to add some embellishment detail onto it as well, so that it creates a really fun card for a very special person. Now, I mean, you could do this sort of design 1.5 centimetre round on any sort of letters or numbers. I did do an M for Mother's Day using the same thing. That's on my channel, but you could have put in a 30 or a 20 or anything else here for someone special. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Fingers crossed it was clear enough for you when I was designing it. I hope you like this one. And here's the finished project. Thank you for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed the video. Everything I've used today is available from slimandstylish.stampinup.net. If you did enjoy the video, please do drop me a like or leave me a comment. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and come back for more content. I also have an Instagram page that I'm trying to grow at the same time. It's @slimandstylish, and every like or follow helps. Thanks everybody for joining me. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day. Bye.